There's a plastic jug sitting under your kitchen sink right now. You paid about $3 for it, maybe less. White distilled vinegar, 5%, the cheapest brand on the shelf. Now think about the last time you walked the garden aisle at the big box store. Weed killer, $12. Bug spray, $9. Pot cleaner, rust remover, fungus spray, critter repellent. You can drop $60 in that aisle without filling half a cart. I've watched good people do it every spring of my life. And the whole time, that $3 jug sits home in the dark, able to do most of that work itself. Nobody ever told you that, and that's not your fault. There's no reason you'd know it. This was common knowledge once. Your grandmother knew it the way she knew how to fold a fitted sheet. Somewhere between her kitchen and ours, it got lost. And there's a reason it got lost. We'll get to that before we're done today. My name is Walter Hayes. I'm 68 years old, and I farm the same Ozark ground in Missouri that my grandfather worked back in the 1940s. He kept a jug of vinegar on a shelf in the barn, the way other men keep a toolbox. Most of what I'm about to show you, I learned standing next to that shelf. Today, I'm going to walk you through 15 things vinegar does in the garden. Real measurements, spoken slow. And I'll say every recipe twice, because a recipe you can't catch is a recipe you don't have. Every one of these costs you pennies on the dollar. And number 12 is the one I'd bet money you've never heard of. It happens before your plant is even in the ground, and it saved my grandfather a full week of waiting every single spring. Don't you leave before we get there. Let's get into it. Number 1. Killing weeds in the cracks of your driveway and walkway. You know the ones. That stubborn green stripe running down the seam of the concrete, laughing at you every time you pull in. Plain white vinegar, the 5% kind, poured or sprayed straight from the jug, no mixing. Do it on a hot, sunny, dry morning. By supper, those weeds are brown. Now here's why some folks swear this doesn't work. Vinegar pulls the moisture out of the leaf. It dries the green part to a crisp, but it does not travel down to the root. So a deep-rooted weed like a dandelion will send up new leaves a week or two later, and you'll think the vinegar failed you. It didn't. You just have to hit it again when it tries. 2, maybe 3 rounds, and even the stubborn ones give up trying. For the worst cracks, the old-timers made it stronger. 1 liter of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of salt, and a small squirt of dish soap. Again, that's 1 liter of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 squirt of dish soap. Rock salt, kosher salt, canning salt. It makes no difference here. Salt is salt. But hear me on this. That salt mix goes on concrete and gravel only, never in a garden bed. Salt stays in soil for years, and nothing you love will grow thereafter. Number 2, bringing old clay pots back to life. Those white crusty stains on your terracotta aren't dirt. They're mineral salts and calcium, left behind by years of water and fertilizer working their way through the clay. The fix costs nearly nothing. 1 liter of water, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of dish soap. I'll say that again. Slow. 1 liter of water, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of dish soap. Soak the pot for half an hour, scrub with a stiff brush, rinse it well, and let it dry in the sun a full day before you plant in it again. The mistake folks make is soaking and skipping the rinse, and then the next plant sits in acid. Rinse until you can't smell it. Now, I'll add this. Some folks love that aged, chalky look on old clay. Margaret does. She's got a row of them on the porch steps she won't let me touch. If you like the patina, keep it. This is for the pots you want looking new. Number 3, sending ants packing. Mix equal parts water and white vinegar in a spray bottle. Half and half, that's all. Spray it along the ant trails around the door frames across the patio seams where they march. Ants find their way by scent. They lay down an invisible trail, and every ant behind follows it like a road map. Vinegar erases that map. The colony doesn't die, but they quit coming through your territory because, as far as they can tell, the road is gone. The mistake is spraying once and calling it done. Rain washes it away, and the scouts come back. Spray every few days for 2 weeks, and again after every rain, and they'll redraw their map somewhere that isn't your back porch. My grandfather used to say a man who reads labels in the garden aisle is paying for the bottle, not what's in it. Which brings me to something worth saying right here. Add up what you'd pay for a weed spray, an ant spray, and a pot cleaner. You're past $30 and we're 3 items in. This whole video cost you one $3 jug. If that kind of math is worth something to you, subscribing to this channel is free, and it's the smartest thing you'll do in the garden today. I put out videos like this one all the time, and every one of them is built to save you money, not spend it. Number 4, taking rust off your garden tools. Pruners, trowels, that hoe that wintered in the shed and came out orange. Fill a bucket or a pan with undiluted white vinegar straight from the jug and let the rusty parts soak overnight. The acid dissolves the rust right off the steel. Come morning, most of it wipes away with a rag, and a little steel wool finishes the job. But here's where most folks go wrong, and I learned this one the hard way too. They rinse the tool, set it down, and find it rusted over again by the next morning. The acid is still sitting on that metal even after a wash, and it keeps eating. So you neutralize it. Mix 2 tablespoons of baking soda into a quart of water, dunk the tool for a minute, dry it well, and wipe the metal with a few drops of any oil you've got. Again, 2 tablespoons of baking soda in a quart of water, then dry, then oil. That last step is the difference between doing this once a year and doing it once. Number 5, making cut flowers last longer in the vase. Margaret's peonies come in the house every June, and this is how we keep them going. For every liter of water in the vase, add 2 tablespoons of vinegar and 1 teaspoon of sugar. One more time. 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of sugar per liter of water. The vinegar keeps bacteria from clouding the water and plugging up the stems. The sugar feeds the bloom. That's the same idea as those little packets the florist charges you for, made at your own counter. Change the water every 2 or 3 days and trim the stems when you do, and you'll get most of an extra week out of a bouquet. Number 6, trapping fruit flies before they find your tomatoes and your kitchen. Take a jar or a shallow bowl and mix 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of molasses. Once more, slow. 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of molasses. Set it near the fruit bowl or out by the ripening tomatoes. Fruit flies hunt by the smell of fermentation, and to them that little bowl smells like the best peach that ever lived. They go in and they don't come out. Dump it and refill it about once a week. Use the apple cider kind here, not white. The fruit smell is the whole engine of the thing. Number 7, keeping rabbits, deer, and other freeloaders off your garden. Soak some old rags in white vinegar, stuff each one in a tin can or an open jar, and set them every few feet around the edge of the bed you're protecting. Deer and rabbits live and die by their noses, and that sharp smell reads as wrong to them, wrong enough to browse somewhere else. Now I'll be straight with you, because that's the only way I know how to talk. This is a reminder, not a fence. A starving deer in February will walk past anything, but for the casual nibblers that hit your hostas in June, it works more often than not. Refresh the rags once a week and after every rain, and don't spray vinegar on the plants themselves to save a step. It burns leaves the same way it burns weeds. The rags do the work from beside the plant, not on it. We're about halfway home. And number 12, the seed trick my grandfather pulled every spring, is still ahead of you. The last few on this list also include the gentlest fungus fix I know. Stay with me. Number 8, cleaning the bird bath. A dirty bird bath turns a kindness into a hazard. Algae and bacteria build up fast in warm weather, and the birds drink it. Once a week, dump the water, pour a splash of straight white vinegar on the basin, and scrub it with a stiff brush, then rinse and rinse again, until you can't smell vinegar at all, and refill with fresh water. The rule is simple. Vinegar touches the empty basin, never the water the birds drink. Do that weekly through the summer, and you'll skip the slimy green mess entirely, and the cardinals will keep coming back to a clean table. Number 9, wiping down the outdoor furniture. The patio set collects pollen, mildew film, and general grime all season. Soak a rag in white vinegar and wipe down plastic and metal furniture. Then let it air dry. For wood, go gentler. Half vinegar, half water. That's it. No $9 bottle of patio cleaner, no scrubbing on your knees. 10 minutes with a rag, and the chairs are fit for company again. Now, before we get into the growing tips, do something for me. Put your state, or your USDA zone if you know it, down in the comments. Vinegar works the same in Maine as it does in Texas, but the plants we'll cover next don't, and I read every one of those comments. What you tell me decides what we cover next. Number 10, a quick pick-me-up for your acid-loving plants. Azaleas, rhododendrons, gardenias, blueberries. If yours are sitting in soil that's not acid enough, the leaves go pale and yellow between the veins, and the plant just sulks. Here's the boost. 1 cup of white vinegar and 1 gallon of water, poured at the base of the plant. Again, 1 cup of vinegar per gallon of water. Not stronger. Stronger doesn't help faster, it just burns roots. And I'll be honest with you about this one, because plenty of videos aren't. This is a cup of coffee, not a meal. The effect fades in a few weeks. If your soil truly runs sweet, the lasting fix is working in some elemental sulfur or pine bark fines come fall, and the vinegar just carries the plant along in between. Once a month at the most. Used that way, it's a fine tool. Sold as a cure, it's a disappointment. Number 11, clearing those cloudy white rings out of glass vases. Mineral deposits, same story as the clay pots. Fill the vase with warm water and a half cup of vinegar and let it stand overnight. If the ring's still there in the morning, add a tablespoon of dry rice and swirl it around. The rice scrubs where your brush can't reach. Rinse well, and the glass your mother left you is clear again. And now, number 12, the one I promised you, the one that happens before the plant is even in the ground. Some seeds wear armor: okra, nasturtium, morning glory, sweet peas. The seed coat on those is so hard that water struggles to get inside and wake the thing up. And you can wait 2 weeks staring at bare dirt, wondering what you did wrong. You did nothing wrong. The seed just hadn't gotten the message. So you softened the armor. The night before planting, put your seeds in 1 cup of warm water with half a teaspoon of vinegar. That's it. Half a teaspoon of vinegar, 1 cup of warm water, soak overnight. The mild acid etches that hard coat just enough for moisture to slip through, and the seed wakes up days sooner. My grandfather did this with every row of okra he ever planted in an old coffee cup on the kitchen windowsill, and his okra was up and waving while the neighbors were still thinking about it. A full week, most years, and a week matters when you're racing the season. 2 warnings. Don't soak longer than about 12 hours, and don't get heavy-handed with the vinegar. We're softening the shell, not pickling the seed. More is not better here. More is dead seed. Number 13, slugs and snails. You'll see folks online dousing whole flower beds with vinegar to fight slugs, and I'm asking you not to do that, because what kills the slug kills the hosta it's sitting on. Here's the controlled version. Go out with a flashlight and a spray bottle of half vinegar, half water in the evening after a rain. When they're out, marching across the patio and the walkway, hit them directly on the hardscape, and that's the end of them. Some old-timers dissolve a couple teaspoons of salt into the bottle to make it quicker, and that works too. But then you be doubly sure not a drop lands in the bed, for the same reason we talked about back at number 1. Salt and soil don't forgive. The bed itself gets protected other ways, and that's a video of its own. Number 14, the gentlest fungus spray I know. For the first signs of powdery mildew, that white dusty film on squash leaves, bee balm, lilacs, brew a pot of chamomile tea, the plain kind from the grocery store, and let it cool all the way. Then stir in 2 teaspoons of vinegar per liter of tea. Again, 2 teaspoons of vinegar in 1 liter of cooled chamomile tea. Chamomile has its own mild antifungal nature. The old folks used it on seedlings for damping off. And the vinegar makes the leaf surface unfriendly to mildew. Now, the rule that goes with every leaf spray on this list, and I want you to keep it for life. Test it on 1 leaf first and wait 48 hours. 1 leaf, 2 days. If that leaf looks happy, spray the plant. And spray in the early morning, never in the midday sun. Sun on a wet acid leaf is how you trade a fungus problem for a burn problem. And number 15, this one's for July. When you and the grandkids come in from the blackberry patch with your hands stained purple to the wrist, splash some white vinegar in your palms, rub them together, and rinse. The stain lifts right off. No scrubbing your skin raw, no smell that lasts. It's a small thing, but it's the kind of small thing that used to get passed down at the kitchen sink, and almost nobody passes it down anymore. Before we tie this all together, 4 safety rules, and I mean every word. 1. Never, ever mix vinegar with bleach or with any cleaner that has bleach in it. That combination makes a poison gas right there in your bucket. Vinegar works alone. 2. Everything in this video uses ordinary 5% household vinegar. There's a 20 and 30% horticultural vinegar out there, and it'll burn your skin and your eyes like it burns weeds. I don't keep it on my place, and you don't need it. 3. Keep every spray away from eyes, yours, and your animals. A dog's nose and a cat's eyes are low to the ground, right where we spray. Let things dry before the pets go back out. And 4, remember that vinegar doesn't choose. It kills the weed and the peony with equal enthusiasm. Aim like it matters, because it does. So let's put the whole jug to work. By a problem this time. For the driveway and the walkway, it's straight vinegar on a sunny morning, and patience for round two. For the critters, you've got the ant spray, the fruit fly trap, the rags and cans for deer and rabbits, and the evening slug patrol. For the shed and the porch, it's the rust soak with the baking soda finish, the clay pot scrub, the furniture wipe down, and the vase rinse. For the plants themselves, the cut flower recipe, the monthly cup per gallon for the azaleas, and the chamomile spray at the first dust of mildew. For the seed drawer, that overnight soak for the hard-shelled ones. And for the birds and the grandkids, a clean bird bath every week and clean hands after the berry patch. 1 jug, 15 jobs, $3. Now, the question I promised to answer, if all this works, why did nobody teach it to you? Nobody had to hide it. The incentives did the quiet work all by themselves. A jug of vinegar can't be patented, can't be marked up, can't be sold to you fresh every spring with new packaging. A customer who solves 15 problems for $3 is a terrible customer. So the shelf space, the commercials, the glossy labels, all of it went to the bottles that need replacing. Nothing sinister about it. Just no money in teaching folks the things that work forever. That's why channels like this one exist. Somebody's got to say it out loud. Here's your job this week, and it's free. Before Sunday, go pull that jug out from under the sink and set it where you can see it. Then walk outside and pick one thing: the crack in the walkway, the rusty pruners, the cloudy vase. Just one. Do it once, the way we talked about. Because the first time this works for you, you'll never read a $12 label the same way again. And one more thing before you go. Did your mother or your grandmother keep vinegar around for some use nobody does anymore? Cleaning, garden, kitchen, anything. Put it in the comments for me. Those little family tricks are exactly the kind of knowledge that dies quietly when nobody writes it down, and I read every single one. In the next one, we're opening the other half of Grandma's cabinet. That orange box of baking soda sitting in your refrigerator door right now has almost as many jobs in the garden as the vinegar does, and a couple of them surprised even me. We'll go through them the same way, slow, with real measurements. That's the old garden way. I'll see you in the garden.